everybody. It is a rainy day here in New York City. I'm sorry that happened with the live stream. Sometimes there's a technical glitch with YouTube and it just says your stream can't work. You're going to have to do a new one, which really sucks. But thank you for jumping over to this one. This is a subscriber stream. That means if you're a subscriber for just 1 minute, you can join the live chat. And I thought that it would be fun because I have to do an early stream today. I'm going to a screening. And boy, am I running behind. So I don't know how long today's stream will be. I kind of have to finish at around 12:30. So sorry about that. But I thought it would be fun to do live movie reviews. So the idea is that you can interact with me. So after I tell you my thoughts on the movie, we can take a moment to, no spoilers, but you can ask me some questions about the movie. So I thought that would be a fun thing to do. I'm not seeing Avatar today. Those screenings are next week. So it's not Avatar. It's a smaller film. But, you know, I'm a movie reviewer. I got to review movies. I don't review all of them, but I want to make sure I still review a decent number of them. So nice to see everybody. Let's see here. Masterworld, you got to stop asking me that. All right. If you ask me a question a lot of times and I don't answer you, I've seen it. I'm just not going to answer you. Let's see. David Felton says, I appreciate the live reviews on the smaller movies coming out. Any chance you will consider doing this for Matilda? I might review Matilda. I'm not sure. Ilham, I actually gave a mini review of The Fabelmans on Movie Math when Black Panther Wakanda Forever opened, which is why I didn't include it in today's stream. So as you can see, today we'll be discussing Strange World and then two Oscar awards contenders. Hey Neto, welcome back. Neto, welcome back. Let's see here. Jay, welcome back. Steven, welcome back. And there are some people on the other stream that I didn't get to say hi to. I apologize about that. James says, I'm a 5th grade teacher and we got lots of snow last night. Enjoying my snow day. I love that teachers get snow days too. Enjoying my snow day while watching your stream. Finally able to make it. Yay! And then She Said. We're also going to do She Said. And so let's get started. Ivan says, review Triangle of Sadness. I could have included that one. That's true. I did see that over the weekend. But these are the three that I went with. All right. So, hold on. Review number 1. Boop. Strange World. I got a lot of requests to review this. And as you know, I didn't initially review it. Interest in this movie has been, that's very kind of you, 80s model, to gift a membership. Interest in Strange World has been super low. And my feeling was, why, I had the opportunity to interview the filmmakers. And so, I was like, why do that? When the movie's important to some people. And I got the chance to interview the filmmakers. So I wasn't really sure if I wanted to wade into this pool. Hey, Chris. Welcome. Thanks for joining. But a lot of you have been asking, and so I thought, why not discuss a little bit, do like a light review. All right? So I know some people have said, oh, it's the marketing that hurt this movie. They didn't advertise it. They didn't advertise it because they know that it's awful. It is a truly awful movie. It's just, there is no redeeming quality. Anyone who says that they like Strange World is willing themselves to like it because they like what the movie stands for. It has very strong messages, not just about LGBT representation, but also about environmentalism. I think it's very specific. I was like, we talk about 4-quadrant movies, and this was like the reverse. I've never seen a movie so laser focused to a demographic. And in fact, I was talking to a friend of mine about it after I saw the screening, and I said, it was like it was just made for the city of Portland. So that's not even 1 quadrant. It's like a fraction of a quadrant. If Portland was a movie, it would be Strange World. So maybe it did really well there. But that's what the movie is, in my opinion. I don't even think it would do well on streaming. I think you will turn it off, or maybe fast forward to see what the twist ending is. All right, so what's the problems with it? I think that it's like cheaper by the dozen, and that it has representation for the sake of representation, rather than having anything meaningful to say about the group, and also it's trying to represent so many different people and so many different things that it ends up representing absolutely nothing. So I thought that was, cheaper by the dozen, where they didn't, it was just so bland and meaningless that it was ridiculous. So I thought that was a problem. It focuses, I think, on too many generations. It has 3 generations that you can see there. Grandfather Jaeger Clade, his son Searcher Clade, and then Searcher's son Ethan. And the problem is that this is an animated movie that doesn't have enough time to explore 3 generations of relationships. So also, it seems like there's no main character. Is Searcher, Jake Gyllenhaal's character, the main character? Or is Ethan, his son, the LGBT character, the main character? There is no main character. The main character is representation. And that's not a main character. So I think that was really a problem. Also, these characters are making pretty big life decisions that they're arguing about, and yet we never see the reasoning behind those decisions. It's just like, why not? It's the right thing to do. And you're like, okay, but why did the character do it? And they're like, because it was the right thing to do. And you're like, nobody does a life decision for that reason. There's always something else. So that's a problem. Now, also, one of the ways that they promoted this movie was it's an old adventure serial. But that's very little what the movie is like. A much better job of that is Leica's Missing Link. Do you remember that movie, Missing Link, with Hugh Jackman, Zach Galifianakis, and Zoe Saldana? That was far better. Far, far, far better. I much preferred that movie. And it had that old adventure serial feel to it. You felt very much like you were going on an adventure. Here, and then also I had a big problem with Dennis Quaid's Jaeger Clade, that guy in the middle there. He's supposed to be old school, and yet, he doesn't bat an eye when his grandson is LGBT. And I think that's wonderful. That's obviously the goal, but I think it's unrelatable and unrealistic. Even he doesn't have any reaction to it whatsoever. I think that's notable. That's a big thing. Obviously, if he's, you would want the character to be positive about it, as he is, but he doesn't even say like, oh, that's great, or like, that's wonderful. I think if people are looking for representation for the LGBT community and meaningful, something for them to relate to, I think they want to see a conversation that they can relate to. Not just again, it's like checking boxes. And then also, the other thing that we talk about is that we would like to see an LGBT character who is not defined by that. And that's, I think, there's shades of that here. But I think that the character, he doesn't have enough to do, Ethan, to be anything but the LGBT character. So I think that that's also a problem. He doesn't have, and also everybody, I have to say, everybody is pretty fine. Nobody, there's no real emotional journeys for anybody. People have small problems and get over them, if they have problems at all, and get over them really quickly. So you're like, well, what's the point of this? You're supposed to go on an emotional journey in a movie. So I just felt very hollow to me. It was less about, I guess what bothered me about it was less about the characters, discovering each other and getting to know each other. Jaeger Clade has never even met his grandson, and here he is, a full-blown teenager. And he does nothing really to say to him, or there's no discussion in any way. He's just like, so you're my grandson, huh? Awesome. And you're like, it seems like they've known each other the whole time. There's always some friction of all different types when you see, when you're thrown together with somebody. So I think that was a problem to me. Sam says Strange World was set in an alternate Earth. It's supposed to be the future, the future. I guess, well, we don't want to give it, Sam, we don't want any spoilers. So, But, you gave $5 to kind of spoil the movie for people. All right, so anyway, I thought that there was a twist in the third act, which I thought was a little bit too aggressive. That to me, like, I felt they were like, get it? Do you get what we're saying? And you were like, anyone would get it. It's just so obvious and aggressive. And they're like, are you going to do the right thing? And you're like, it's a very different scenario. It's not as simple as you're making it seem. I get very upset when people think that, they put it on just one individual. They're like, if you made this change, Earth would be better off. And you're like, but what about the millions of other people who are still doing it? And, it's an environmentalism movie. So it's like remember Natalie Portman was going around saying she takes shorter showers to conserve water on the planet. I think she specifically referenced Africa and said they don't have enough water in Africa. I'm going to take shorter showers so that I don't contribute to that. And you're like, Natalie Portman, do you think that we all take water from the same pool? I like that you guys are so disinterested in the strange world that you're all talking about Keanu Reeves instead. The joys of the live stream. All right, so anyway, is it somebody on the live stream's birthday or Keanu Reeves' birthday? Oh, here it is. Well, that's very nice. Happy birthday, Keanu. I hope you're having a great 23rd birthday. That's very kind of you. All right. So anyway, yeah, that's Strange World. I think the other problem is it kind of rips off Japanese animation. And also, it's not very much like Disney. It's not very much on the Disney style. I think people see a Disney movie and they want to see a Disney animated movie, and yet that's not what they got. So I think that's a big problem with Strange World. Now let's do the interactive part. Does anybody want to ask me a question about Strange World? 1 second here. Skylar says, how important is the boy's sexuality? It's a very big part of the movie. It's you cannot miss it. It's very clear. It's a part of the story. He has the flirtation. I thought one of the most authentic parts of the movie was his flirtation with this boy. But again, it's not a romantic storyline though. So, I mean, if you're looking for, like, people love Disney romance, Disney animated romance, and that's not what this is. Trisha Monger says, will this find an audience on Disney Plus? I don't think so. I don't think anybody will watch this. Jesse the Good Witch says, oh my goodness, alive this early. That means I can do this. Oh, that's right. Good morning and welcome to Morning Movie News. That's right. Hey, Nicholas. 80s model said, was the animation good at least? It was okay. It looked a lot like The Croods, to be honest with you. And I think you should just watch The Croods, which is quite good. Dallin says, I absolutely agree about the character design problem. The aesthetic of this movie looked much more Cartoon Network than Disney. Right? Yeah. Hey, Ryan. Mahul says, is it even watchable for streaming at no extra cost? I think that you're going to want to look at it because if you're at all into movies and Disney animation, you're going to want to see this thing for yourself. But I think you're probably not going to watch it all the way through. I suspect, you might, but you might do something else. You might get distracted and have it on in the background. But you'll want to fast forward to see what the ending is. Hasno says, are you planning on reviewing The White Lotus? I don't know. Maybe. Let's see how slow December is. It's looking pretty frickin' slow. Tiffany, I haven't heard anything about the new Hawkeye. Brittany reacts, says, hi Grace, I've been a fan since 2015. Love your videos. Do you think Disney hid this movie because they were afraid of the backlash over the gay storyline? That's a valid question, Brittany. I think they hid it because it's bad. It's just a really bad movie. And I feel bad because it's, of course, their first major representation of an LGBT character. I think if they felt this was a good movie, they would have promoted it. The goal is to make a movie with an LGBT character that's so good that how could you not watch it? That's, I think, what they should be working on. And I don't think it's the worst movie. I don't think it's the worst movie of 2022. It's like a non-movie. It's like a pamphlet from Portland. Trisha says, do you think Universal Animation is recently better than Disney? Disney needs to bring back Frozen and Tangled. I think that both Disney and Pixar have lost sight of why people like their movies and what they want from them. I think, Pixar started with like trying to make you cry and they just went totally off the rails. Thanks, Kuma. And I think Disney animation, I think representation is really, really important. I could not be a bigger fan of representation. But I think that you have to pick one kind of representation per project and do a really good job with it. I think Turning Red is a good example of that to a degree. That's what they should be working on. And I think that this, trying to do it all at once is just ridiculous. And it doesn't work. And as I said, it doesn't do anybody any favors. I thought Lightyear didn't do well because Lightyear was not really a Buzz Lightyear movie. That was Lightyear's problem. If Tim Allen had returned for Lightyear and Buzz Lightyear was running around doing Buzz Lightyear kind of stuff from Toy Story, that would have been a really big hit, no matter who they had included in the story. It did make me cry though. I kind of liked Lightyear, to be honest with you, but it wasn't what anybody wanted. Tiffany says, "Is Strange World out yet?" Yes, it's out. It's out. You can see it right now. Brett says, "Will this discourage Disney from future LGBT representation?" I sure hope not. I hope that they will try again. But I hope that they get excited about a story first instead of who's in it. And then they say, why don't we try and do this? So let's see what happens. But it's not a good movie. All right, Danny. I see you, Danny. All right, so that's the first movie review. Now you can see why I didn't want to review it. All right, so Glalie says, "How did Disney go from Encanto to this? Does the company just sometimes get lucky?" I think a big part of why Encanto worked was Lin-Manuel Miranda. I think that he did a really great thing. One second. All right, hold on. I had a family member trying to reach me because I'm streaming at an unusual time of day. All right. All right, so, boy, today is just a day, huh? I mean, holy crap. All right. Thanks, James. Whew. All right, so review number 2. All right. Boop. Let's see here. The Modern Dino says, "Hey, Grace, can't stay long, but I wanted to say I love your content, and it always makes my day." That's so kind of you. Thank you. And that's very generous of you. Thank you. All right. Hold on. All right. Review number 2. All right. The Banshees of Inisherin. I was very excited to see this movie because I'm a huge Colin Farrell fan. Oh, yeah. Boop. Boopity boop, boop, boop. I'm a big Colin Farrell fan. And I'd heard he was quite good in this movie and that he might win an Oscar for it. So I was very, very, very excited to see it. I even got a screener, so I was very happy about that. And I sat down to watch it. Hey, Gigi, I think you need the right people behind the camera to do it. That's why I'm nervous about Valkyrie in the MCU. Yeah, well, he really didn't do a good job with Valkyrie at all, especially in the last movie. But we're talking about Banshees of Inisherin right now. But I appreciate your enthusiasm, Gigi. So anyway, I was very excited. Hold on. Brett says, "Hey, Grace, been a follower since 2008. I watched Puss in Boots 2 on Saturday. It was fantastic." I do. I have a screener for that. I'm hoping to review it. And Glass Onion indeed was excellent. Yes, I did see In Bruges, Sean. I loved In Bruges. And that's one of the reasons I was also excited about this movie. So anyway, I turned it on. I was so excited. I watched it the day that I got the screener. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a real treat. And it was one of the worst watching experiences I've ever had. It was like torture. It was just so awful. It's an intentionally cruel movie. Colin Farrell even has a really great speech about kindness that I thought was very important. But it's just so difficult to sit through. Now, you realize, and I wish that they'd made this more clear, that this movie is actually a fable or a parable for Ireland, for the country of Ireland, and its problems, its issues. I also think a little bit for men, men in suburbia, and the farming communities, and it's just so bleak. It's so bleak. You're like, holy crap. I mean, and it's just, you feel so bad for Colin Farrell's character, which I think is intentional. Now, so as I said, it's a fable or a parable. And I really wish that they'd had like a storybook opening or maybe like a narrator. You know, like Darby O'Gill and the Little People, where, you know, he's having a cob pipe, you know, and he's like, hey, let me tell you about this story. And you'd be like, oh, cool. Okay, now I get it. This is not supposed to be totally real. Because when you watch the movie, you're like, what the heck am I, what's happening? Nobody would ever act this way. It's almost like a dream, but I would say a nightmare. It's a little bit more like a nightmare. And I did feel like that. You ever have a really bad nightmare? I've been under a lot of stress lately. I'm having some doozies of nightmares. Oh, look, an overshare. I hope you enjoyed it. And you wake up and you're like, that was horrible. And I felt like that was a lot what this was like. Banshees, it was like a waking nightmare. Put that on the poster. A waking nightmare. Now, I do feel that it's very intellectual, and I do understand what, Martin McDonagh is trying to do here. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it's just so hard to sit through. It's hard for me to understand if I would give it an award. I mean, I can see it getting nominations for writing probably, and then also for Colin Farrell. You know, I think I really would like Colin Farrell to do well. I would love to see him win an Oscar, and I hope he gets at least nominated. I would nominate him for this, but it's hard for me to say that he should win based on a movie that I honestly feel is unwatchable and just too sad. You want to reach through the camera and help these people, and because you're like, what the heck are you doing? You know, like, this is ridiculous. And they just keep going and down a horrible, horrible path. And so, I mean, like, if you're into awards movies, you should watch it. If you're a cinephile, quote unquote. But if you're just looking for entertainment, and certainly maybe watch it as like a matinee on a rainy day like this, I would not watch it for like a big fun evening, because you're just going to be like, Jander, if you like sad movies, this is the movie for you. At one point, Colin Farrell is in bed crying himself to sleep, and you're like, man, go live with your sister, dude. You know? And I guess that's a little bit what like the movie's about. Like, some people you can't help. Some people don't want to be helped. And that's very sad. Like, who wants to think about that? Yeah, Josh. Josh knows what I'm talking about. You know, like, having people like that in your life is really difficult, where you're like, let me help you. And they're like, no, I just want to sit over here miserable with you knowing who I am and you knowing about how unhappy I am and that you can do nothing about it. Yet still, I want to talk to you about how unhappy I am. And you're like, oh. Sean says, with this film and Jessie Buckley on Women Talking, we could potentially get an Irish actor nominated in each category. Oh, that'd be great, Sean. Brett says, I'm avoiding it because I heard what happened to the donkey. Yeah. No animals were actually injured, but it's, Jose says, sounds like my kind of movie. Did anybody watch this and like it? I agree, Adam. Barry Keoghan was also excellent, but his role was also incredibly sad. It was like ridiculous. You were like, this is so sad. Like, dude, there are other options. Hey, Paul, I want to leave the theater feeling happy, not sad. Don't watch it. Oh, Paul loved it. That's funny, Paul. So sad. Eric loved it. That's great. All right, let's move on to She Said. That's right, and I am running out of time. All right, so I can totally see the intelligence of the movie, and I think it's quite clever I think just know that it's a parable. It's not real, totally. It's a parable for the problems of Ireland. So that's what it really is. And if you know that, you will better understand it. A little bit like Manchester by the Sea, Mary. That's an excellent comparison. All right, hold on. All right. Story number 3. Review number 3. Boom, baby. She Said. She Said, in my opinion, is an incredible film. And I know I can see that some of you have seen it as well. I know some of you saw it because I recommended it, so I appreciate that. Mark Burns said, is there any violent scenes in the film? Yes. Trisha says, Grace, do you like Universal or Disney animation more? Disney. I just love Disney. I think Disney's fantastic. All right, so She Said, I haven't seen The Whale yet. I have a screening like next week. All right. So She Said, I think, is a really phenomenal film. And I feel bad that more people aren't seeing it because it's a really important story, and I think it's handled really well. It's written and directed by two women who have not had a lot of work so far, and the fact that they kind of come out of nowhere and do such a good job is really incredible. I was very upset to see a headline in Deadline that said they should have gotten the writer from Spotlight, and I'm like, this movie doesn't need any work. It's great the way it is. People should just go and see it. Paul, I'm glad your theater was crowded. That's wonderful. Tristan, I'm glad that I got you to go and see it. So it's really a wonderful film. And I think one of the things that allowed me to see how good it was right off the bat was that it starts with women just going to work, commuting to work in New York City. And I think that really puts the right frame of mind for the film. That this isn't a movie about, it's not a salacious film. It's a film about women just wanting to be part of society and the workforce and this really weird problem that they're having. Because here's the thing, when you watch this movie, you would think Harvey Weinstein would be an anomaly, that he's a sick individual, and that it's just horrible what happened, and thank goodness we caught him and got rid of him. But when you watch this movie, you're like, well, actually, he's one of many. And this actually happens quite a lot. Like, I was so weird to watch this movie and think, well, there was also Les Moonves who was doing almost the exact same thing. So that was very, very odd and very scary. And, Hollywood is getting a lot of attention, but this actually happens in a number of industries. This is a real problem. Women just want to work, and they find themselves targeted and preyed upon. And it's really quite horrible. And careers and lives are ruined. So I think that's very scary. I think that also they did a perfect job handling Harvey Weinstein. I thought that they didn't make it about him. They didn't really show him or like revel in that. They had a body double, and you only saw him from behind a few times. And they had a very good actor doing his voice on the phone. And I can tell you from my experiences and stuff I know in the industry, you heard Harvey Weinstein on the phone a lot. So I think that was a big thing. DeVille says, Grace, did you know that a woman of color wrote Malignant in the new movie Megan? That's right, DeVille. I did know that. That's not what we're talking about, but I'm very happy for her. So also, another thing that this movie talks about is women in journalism. It really focuses on these two female reporters. And also what it's just also for them to be working, dealing with marriage, family, postpartum depression. And I thought that was just really, really intellectual and really well done. Jesse the Goodwitch says, She said with my two pals and one other man. So four men watching the movie about women's experiences. They missed their target audience. I loved it. I'm not quite sure what you're saying there. You see the men can like it as well? Brett says, my partner and I saw it and we're the youngest people and youngest folks in the theater. Loved your recommendation. It was thrilling and well paced. I'm so glad that you really liked it, because I thought it was going to be over the top, and I'm like, who could sit through a whole movie of this? But it's really good, and they don't show anything. They don't reenact these assaults. They instead have these women recounting their experiences to these journalists, and there's just some incredible performances. Now, Rose McGowan refused to be involved, but bye, Josh. So anyway, Rose McGowan, they have an actress doing her voice. Gwyneth Paltrow is referenced and does a voice. But I was really impressed that Ashley Judd, who was instrumental in taking down Harvey Weinstein, actually appeared and played herself. I thought that was really exemplary, that she not only helped out and did everything that was really important and stepped up at the first time, but that she stepped up to help with this movie. I'm sorry about the financial issues, Carter, but hopefully this should be on streaming soon. I also really liked, hey Juan, do you think She Said will win an Oscar? I'm not sure. It's such a flop. I hope so. I think it's one of the best movies of the year. Hey Trisha, what studio made She Said? Oh, I forgot off the top. Oh, Universal, I think. I think it was Universal. Oh, Jesse the Goodwitch says they're missing. I don't know who. I think the target audience, I hope, would be everybody. I would hope the target audience would be everybody for She Said. Because everybody is in the workplace. And I think it's important to know what's going on, because it's really shocking. Patricia Clarkson did an absolutely wonderful job as their editor. And Andre Brower had a very small role, but he was phenomenal as the executive editor of the New York Times, Dean Baquet. And I think it's interesting that there has been a black man as the executive editor of the New York Times for a while now. And I don't think that's gotten as much attention as it should. I think that, you might be like, well, why would you call attention to it? You're saying that it's unusual. And it's like, well, I think you want to show successful figures that break stereotypes in all these different fields and just show that, ceilings have been broken. And also, I guess I'm also enamored by it because Andre Brower was just so cool in the role. They had him on the phone handling Harvey Weinstein, hanging up on him, and he was just great. Andre Brower did an amazing job, and you were like, that guy's cool. I mean, that is the kind of guy that you want to have. Harvey Weinstein was considered, before all this was exposed about him, that he was a cool boss. He was a tough guy. But Andre Brower is playing someone who's also a tough guy, but in a responsible, respectable, above-board way. So I really loved that. And I thought Andre Brower, it's such a small role, but I am voting for Critics' Choice. Maybe I'll nominate Andre Brower for supporting because he only had a few lines, but he was just so crucial to that film. Dylan says, well, the fact that Brad Pitt is producing hurt the movie. I don't think so. I don't think Brad Pitt's is as much trouble as you all think that he's in. Who here thinks Brad Pitt's career is in trouble? It will be okay, says, is Carey Mulligan box office poison? Well, I don't think she does a good job promoting stuff, and she doesn't seem to have a lot of fans. I actually will go out of my way to see stuff that Carey Mulligan is in, because I really like her. Jander says, I hope they win awards and bring more people to watch it. I hope so. You guys are really upset with Brad Pitt, huh? There's no evidence. He was cleared by the FBI. So I don't understand why you would believe that he did anything wrong when the FBI said that he didn't. What does the guy need to do, or anyone need to do, to prove that they didn't do anything wrong when there was an investigation and he was found to be innocent? Ian says, I love the film. Zoe Kazan is such a fantastic, underrated actress. The film does so many subtle things well, even the wardrobe. Yeah, it's phenomenal. No worries, DeVille. But yeah, Zoe Kazan is actually married or dating or lives with Paul Dano. So the fact that he's in The Fabelmans, I thought was really interesting. Lewis says, would she said have done better in August when there wasn't as much in theaters? I think that people just don't want to hear about this stuff, unfortunately, which is really sad. I think a lot of people are angry right now, and a lot of people feel they have their own problems, and they really don't want to hear about somebody else's problems, which is too bad. It's really tragic. It's, again, the echo chamber that the world is becoming. Samantha Morton and Jennifer L. were also phenomenal. I can't believe you guys don't believe the FBI investigation. Angelina Jolie is infamous for being a manipulator. And Brad Pitt has, no other incidences of having a problem. And you would just take her word point blank? That's just incredible to me. I think you just don't want to like Brad Pitt. So that's fine. The FBI investigated it, and they said there was no problem. So I just, if Angelina Jolie feels that there's still an issue, she should sue and have lawyers look into it. What about the pilots? There were other people on the plane. What about her children? There were witnesses. So, yes, iReady. Promising Young Woman is phenomenal. All right. What a day. Today is a weird day. All right, so it's 12:32. You can ask me anything you like for, let's do 5 minutes. Angelina Jolie is a very difficult, problematic person. Okay, Jen McMahon says, after watching The Vow, I totally want to watch She Said. You really should watch it. It's incredible. Jake Cheeky says, will James Cameron be over if Avatar 2 flops? Let's see. Like, if it totally bombs, he's in trouble. If it just does like $1 billion, which would be considered disappointing considering how well the first Avatar did, then that would be fine. Oh, you're at Costco? That's great. Enjoy the samples, Jose. I'm not watching any I don't like watching clips for movies before they release. I mean, I like to see the movie. That's very kind of you, Alexander. Thank you. I hear that tomorrow in the Disney panel, they're going to drop a lot of stuff, but obviously not all of it will be made public. Al Watch says, just got the new Blue Beetle and Jeff Johns Society. I bought that too. I didn't buy Blue Beetle. I bought Jeff Johns Justice Society. But please, I'd love to hear your reviews, Al Watch. I haven't read the Justice Society yet. Brett Crandall says, Emerald Fennell wrote the book for Bad Cinderella coming to Broadway. Plan to see it? What's next for her? I think Zatanna is dead for now and probably is just dead. I'd love to see Emerald Fennell working in some franchise work. I really like her a lot. I think she's very talented. Let's see here. James says, do you think Mario will match Despicable Me in the box office? It's funny. Last night, all these people were like, I don't think it's going to do very well. And all these people were like, oh, you're ridiculous, Grace. Mario is going to be the biggest movie ever. And the trailer, I got to tell you, the trailer's not doing that hot. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. But I mean, sometimes a movie won't get a lot of traction online and it'll still do well in theaters. Maybe the Super Mario Brothers movie will do like such ridiculous business overseas that it's a huge hit. I mean, we'll see. It could be like Despicable Me. But, I mean, let's see. Trish says, Grace, I've been throwing... Oh, I'm sorry, Trisha. I'm sorry you're sick. That's very sick. Take care of yourself. Thanks, Ever. My favorite Christmas movie? I really like Elf, and I like The Grinch, the Benedict Cumberbatch, Illumination Entertainment. I love that. Hey, thanks, Eduardo. Hedger Hog says, hi, Grace. I've been watching your videos since 2009. Remember the first time you put your face in the thumbnail? Oh, that's right. That was a big decision. Love the community you've built, even if I don't get to participate a lot. You're making me sad, Hedger Hodge. I'm glad you could participate today. And, I try and do these every other week or so where subscribers can join in. All right, let me see here. Let me see. All right, I got to jump off in a minute. So let me just get these last few questions. Let's see here. Erwin says, do you see the Oscars ever changing the acting category to just lead and supporting? No, I don't. I don't think that's going to happen. DeVille West says, do you think ATJ is doing some behind the scenes work to get all these roles? No, I don't. I just think he's probably very good in a room. Sometimes actors are really wonderful people, and so other people in the industry who know them personally want to help them, even though that wonderful quality doesn't translate on screen. So that happens sometimes. Wesley Waller says, Grace, do you think Top Gun will win Best Picture? I don't know if it'll win, but I think it'll definitely be nominated, like 100%. And it could win. I don't think it's impossible that it could win. This is a very bad year for awards films. And then Gramo says, if actress Eva Green were to ever be in a comic book movie, which character would she be best, MCU or DCEU? Thanks for the early live. My pleasure. I think Eva Green had her moment. I think it would be unlikely that anyone's going to bring her back. She'd be a pretty good Cersei maybe maybe I put her in the Wonder Woman movies. She'd be, I think, pretty good opposite Gal Gadot. Oh, let me see here. Dash says, hey, Grace, love all your streams. Any Spider-Man 4 Tom Holland tea? Not recently, but thank you. I appreciate that. And then Tammy says, Grace, you deserve a medal and chicken nuggets for getting through this live. I'm sorry if I came across a little upset. I apologize. I'm just really under the gun, and I had an annoying conversation right before I went on the live, and I was didn't have as much time to prepare as I wanted to. And so I'm sorry. Sometimes I try not to let my personal stuff filter through, but today it did. So I apologize. Maybe review streams aren't a great idea. Jay Altman says, hey Grace, I usually watch live streams afterwards because of work. Had an opening in my morning. I had to jump at the chance to join in. Thanks, Jay. Making a big salad for lunch and enjoying the conversation. And that's very nice of you, Jay. Thank you. I hope you have a delicious salad that you're making. And then Juan says, thoughts on Amazon making a deal with DC Animation. I'm very annoyed about it. I'm very annoyed. I think it's stupid. But, based on how much Amazon's paying Channing Tatum, $25 million for that movie we discussed yesterday, I guess Warner Brothers Discovery is getting more money. They're like, whoo, we never pay ourselves that much. Thank goodness for Amazon. Stella says, did you watch Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons? I did not. People don't really care about that animation anymore, so I'm not reviewing it. They don't send out screeners. They'll only send out physical DVDs, and I don't have a DVD player, so I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with this? So I think that they're not doing a very good job getting that ahead of people. You guys are so kind. I love you all. Horse choker. I'm not, who played Leslie Headland in She Said? I didn't see her in that. I know who you're talking about. She was not in the movie. Tanya Tyler says, who should be nominated for Best Actor? Colin Farrell, but I don't think he should win, but he should be nominated. And I have to get going, I'm afraid, so I cannot give you a full list of who I think. Golden Globe nominations, by the way, are very soon. Should I cover the Golden Globe nominations? They come out on the 12th. Dylan, don't worry about it, Dylan. You don't have to apologize to me. You brought up an honest comment. Well, most of you feel that I should cover it. I feel like I'm going to cover it, but I'll have to bring up they're still a horrible organization. Richie says, Willow series review. I couldn't watch it. I just, it was a lot of episodes. I didn't want to watch it. Sorry. All right. Yeah, let's see. Well, we have to do our usual who will win, who should win. That's what we got to do. All right. Mark says I could care less. All right. I better get going. I'm going to be late for my screening. I had an absolutely wonderful time talking to you. You cheered me up a little bit. I appreciate it. I'm pretty upset, so I couldn't be totally cheered up, but you guys did as much as you possibly could. And I'm sure tomorrow I'll be in a much better mood. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day. You guys are the best. You are just wonderful. Okay, bye, everybody. I'll make sure I have a subscriber stream next week for sure, so that I know that the subscriber stream was a little bit edgy today. So I'll have one next week, which will be a regular stream. Thank you, J. King. It'll be a regular stream with news stories, and you can participate, and so it'll be better. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.